Hi, I'm Joy.
Hi, I'm Lorraine.
And this is Girlish Gurus. And Lorraine, why are we here?
We're here to talk about mid-lifestyle topics for women who are 45 and older to help you live your best, healthiest, and most fulfilled life. We're also going to have lots of fun along the way.
Be sure to stick around until the end for fun announcements and goodies you won't want to miss.
So let's get started.
Welcome back to another episode of Girlish Gurus. I'm Joy.
And I'm Lorraine.
Lorraine, what are we talking about today?
Well, most women track steps, sleep, and calories, but few understand the one metric that may reveal how resilient their body truly is: heart rate variability, HRV. In this episode, we explore how a simple 3-minute morning measurement with Elonga can help women better understand stress, recovery, menopause, and longevity. And today we're joined by someone who has spent decades studying HRV and helping bring laboratory-level science into everyday life. I'd like to introduce Dr. Radim Šlachta. Hopefully I got that right, Ph.D. And he is an exercise physiologist and researcher who first encountered spectral analysis of heart rate variability during his doctoral studies. His pioneering research became the foundation for analytical approaches now used in modern HRV technology. He later led sports and preventative medicine initiatives at a gel sports clinic where HRV diagnostics were used with both recreational and elite athletes. In 2016, he founded MySassy to bring laboratory-grade HRV measurements to athletes outside the lab. Recognizing the broader potential of HRV for everyday health, he co-founded Elonga in 2021. Today, Elonga helps people optimize recovery, movement, and resilience through a simple 3-minute daily measurement. And outside of his work in health and technology innovation, Radim is an avid sport climber. So welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me here, and thank you for this kind introduction. I don't know if I have something to add during our chat today, because you said almost everything. I was present.
Oh, well, you'll get into it a little bit more, because I know the women, especially listening, they need to know what their heart rate variability is about. And I wrote a book about the vagus nerve, so a lot of them have been introduced to that and how our parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems need help.
Desperately.
So I know that you will share a lot today. So actually, to get started, we have a couple of questions for you. So the first question is, you first encountered the HRV during your Ph.D. studies, and what fascinated you about it, and why has it become such an important biomarker?
Yeah, I would say that it was already, as I look quite young, but it was already more than or around 30 years ago, and it was completely unknown area. Yeah, also during or among the scientists, it was very, very new, and it was used mainly in cardiology. It was only as medical diagnostics. And there started to be some first signs that it could be useful for professional athletes and top-level athletes. And as I did PhD from exercise physiology, it looks quite attractive. And I would say that the most important point was that my mentor during the PhD studies was one from the leaders in this area around Europe, and his knowledge was much further when was some average knowledge regarding HRV. So we were on the top of this knowledge base, and it was very, very complicated. We did it in a laboratory with many different devices, big computers, and so on. But it looks very, very challenging. And from the first time when I started to use it in a practice, I was quite sure that it has a huge potential, but I believed in that time that this potential will be clear, I don't know, next years and maybe second year after I will finish my PhDs. Yeah, I couldn't realize that it will take more than 30 years when the population will
Wow.
accept it like today.
That's wow.
Oh, wow. So can you explain to us what exactly HRV measures?
Yeah. Uh, Formally, it measures consistency over timing during among the heartbeats, and I would change this definition from consistency into inconsistency between the less consistent the length between two heartbeats are. It shows that your autonomic nervous system works better. Yeah. And on the beginning, I would like to say that here is quite big cliche. And even if you will ask the ChatGPT how to evaluate HRV, the most often question is if the HRV is high, this inconsistency is high, it's a better, and it's low, it's a worse. And I wouldn't say that generally it's possible to say, and I think that it's a major cause of some unclear interpretations and so on, but I expect that we will speak about it deeper during our chat.
Okay. I know I have a lot of questions. So
Me too.
Joy and I both have our Elongas, which we have been using. And I'm actually, I'm actually a little bit surprised at how much stress I have. So, I mean, so it's actually giving me a lot to look at, and I love the measurements that it gives, and we'll get into that a little bit more, but I obviously have work to do. Let's put it that way. So you talked a little bit about that it's taken over 30 years once you were in the lab working on this. So how has our understanding of HRV changed over those 30 years?
It's interesting question, because I wouldn't say that the understanding of HRV was changed during this period somehow strongly or somehow strongly, but big change is in interpretation of a data and application on a data in everyday lives on a normal population. Yeah, I think that still this scientific background is quite same, and the information value we can obtain it's more or less same, but the technically this measurement it's much easier than before regarding tools, regarding time, regarding applications and so on. And the tendency to interpret the data as simply as possible is the biggest shift I can recognize during that time. But as I said from the beginning, I don't feel that it's only the positive shift in this simplification.
And why do you say that?
Yeah, as I said, if you will ask, I don't know, users or sometimes ChatGPT today or some other AI tools are source of a truth today, they will tell you if the higher it's high, it's okay. It means you are relaxed, your body is in good condition and so on. If the numbers are lower, it's some bad information for you. But it's very general description, general information, and it's true only in 90% of a states. Yeah, and I think that it's somehow undervalued the potential of this method, because you can see much more information in HRV results. But this super simplification makes it quite terrible to use all this information. They are incorporated in HRV method.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's like with the Elonga, it kind of gives you a breakdown of everything and explains exactly what those numbers mean and what the possibility of those numbers were. Sometimes you could have a high stress level because you were over exercising, rather than just have a lot of stress in your life, things going on in your life. And I like that it does give you those measurements and kind of says like what's happening here, what's happening in your life, and it kind of directs you with different ways to, I guess, reduce that stress and increase your what is the other thing? It's the stress level and regeneration. Is it the regeneration number?
Recovery, yes.
Recovery. Yeah. So I know that Joy, you have the next question for.
Right. I'm so interested because I see what you mean and I see the value in working to create basic ways to interpret that data so this device can be used more generally. Why does it only take 3 minutes for Elonga to take the measurement? How does the device work?
Yeah. I would start from a broader perspective, because we all know, and I would emphasize that HRV measurement, it's tool how to monitor the state or activity of autonomic nervous system. Quite important part of a central nervous system, which we are not able to influence through our will, and it steers our body. Yeah, autonomic nervous system. It's very important part of the central system. And it's quite popular today to describe that this autonomic nervous system has two branches, sympathetic branch and parasympathetic, or sympathetic and parasympathetic. And they are completely different tasks and different functions. Sympathetic, fight and fly, and parasympathetic, feed and breath, or regeneration, recovery, and so on. And when you, and it's a true and it's not very often described, when you are using today the most popular tool, I wouldn't describe it, I think other tools than Elonga, they are using, it's called method called time domain. You analyze the data and you have only this information. HRV is higher or lower or better than yesterday or worse than yesterday. But it's not very often said that this method can explain only this parasympathetic branch of our autonomic nervous system. Yeah, it's quite clear. It's quite clear for scientists and for people who knows what is it about. We are using completely different method. It's spectral analysis, and it's based on the fact that when these changes have lower frequencies, they represent activity of the sympathetic nervous system. And if these changes, these uncorrections are on a higher frequencies, it represents the parasympathetic nervous system. And we are able to differentiate between these two systems. And this time domain has not this accuracy to be able to describe it. Yeah. And when these tools interpret the results, they said, if the value is low, it means that parasympathetic nervous system is low, and it means that sympathetic is high. But it's not any rule. It doesn't work that always when something is higher, second part is lower, and contrary. Yeah, you can also have both branches in a high activity and both branches in a low activity, and it's completely different information. And users of these systems are quite often focused only on half of this general information and try to interpret it as simply as possible. Don't be confused from these values and so on. And we are using this spectral analysis, and originally it takes 20 minutes to do one measurement. Yeah, when we started with the MySAS, it takes 20 minutes, and it was mission impossible to explain why people should spend such a long time to obtain this information. Fortunately, we started with the top level athletes. For some of them, at least, it was acceptable. And whenever we collect first 500,000 data, quite strong amount of data from the measurement. We started to cooperate with a company focused on AI and machine learning. It was 5 years ago, and they were working with our data to be able to make our measurement as short as possible. Yeah, we did it in 2 or 3 stages, from 20 minutes to 5.5 minutes, and after the bigger collection of the data, we now are able to do the measurement in a length of 3 minutes because of this machine learning. There are some black boxes. I am not specialist on AI or machine learning. We have big research team behind that. And only because of this amount of data we were able to collect, now we can provide the similar information as originally was possible to obtain only from this 20 minutes, from 3 minutes measurement per day. And of course, I'm still fighting with the two positions. On the one side, I am the scientist and the person who knows almost everything regarding algorithms, physiology, and so on. On the other side, I am a businessman, and I know that if it will be more complicated than is acceptable for users, it will not be
It won't
possible
sell.
to sell it,
Yeah.
to use it, and so on. I accept it. I use it every day. And now I know when it takes 3 minutes and it's measurable through this device I have on my arm, it's much, much more comfortable and it's acceptable for a majority of the population. So it was the process, and still it's fight among the amount of information we have, and we want to leave in our application, and simplification users would like to have, and so on. But it was this process, and I would say that 3 minutes are the minimum we need today to deliver information which is correct enough and has optimal value.
Wow.
Well, that's what I love about the Elonga, is that
you don't have to wear it all day.
Right. It's not, you don't have to wear it all day, and it's just the 3 minutes in the morning. And actually, when I do it in the morning, I lay there, I do it for 3 minutes, and I try to manifest while I'm laying there doing it for 3 minutes. So I have time to think, and it goes, I mean, the 3 minutes goes by quickly, and I do it, you do it before you get up out of bed. So, and it's so easy. It's sitting right there, put it on, turn it on, and gives you the little beep when it's done.
Well, yeah. I think the app so far, but I'm pretty comfortable with technology, I would say. And I think the app is pretty user-friendly. Now, I've only just now started using it, but for me, so far, it's common sense in how it works. It operates at a good level. And I also think that this is going to be a huge value for women in our demographic. Lorraine and I, our audience is women who are 45 years of age and older. And our health issues are confused and compounded by all the different devices and things like that that are out there. And so a device that can help you simplify what's going on in your body is going to be so useful for our demographic.
So why does movement prescription play such a central role in the Elonga app?
It has maybe two core reasons. One is that I am the fan of a physical activity, not top level at least, but I am, and I don't mean that I like climbing and cycling, but I strongly believe that physical activity is a crucial thing which could help in a prevention, improvement of health, and so on. It's my also academic background to know almost everything how physical activity and which physical activity can influence. And it's today, I would say, still more and more obvious that it can have the strongest influence on your health and also on HRV values. That if we are speaking by some popular way about the longevity today, and there are many different theories and different roots of longevity. So I think that today it's quite obvious that physical activity is this main one, and we can influence it very well, and it works for health and also for HRV values very well. And second reason is, as I presented before, we started with my SASI application, which was strongly focused on a top level sport. So we had enough, or the most information we have about the relationship between training, physical activity, and HRV. So it was quite logical that when we started to develop Elonga, because first idea was we will provide tool for monitoring, yeah. And before we put it on the market, we have first feedbacks, but it was also our feeling for a general population. It's not enough only to say them your state is that and this number and
Right.
this number.
Yeah.
There will be logical question: what should I do to improve
Exactly.
my
Right.
results? Because it's quite clear that in today's population, the results it's more often worse than better than some average. Yeah, and it was the first point to start with the physical activity because we have quite strong know-how how to do it, and we again know that the population recommendation today are not accurate enough to improve the people's life as it's possible. Yeah, some general recommendations, some amount of
Yes.
steps, and it's same if it is
Not
8
enough.
or ten
Yeah.
thousand. It's better to do these steps than do nothing. But you can have much more precise recommendations, which will help you much stronger if somebody know what to recommend to you. So it was quite strong feelings that we have to start from this point.
Yeah, I like how when I get my reading in the morning, it will tell me today you should have a low activity day, or you can engage in moderate activity. So that they actually have the three levels. They tell you which one would be good according to what your results were. And I like how you can enter exactly what your like. I do Pilates and walking, so and weight training. So I was able to include all of those in my because it'll ask you what your activities are and how often you do them. And I like how it'll say, okay, today would be a good day for Pilates and a little bit of walking. Or like this morning, because my stress level was so high, it said, take it easy today. so
Yeah.
so I'm trying. But what can you tell us what principles are built into Elonga's movement prescription that other systems may not have?
I would say that the most important what I would like to emphasize is, and you already mentioned it, that we are working with the intensities because if you will know something deeper about physical activity prescription, the intensity is the most important things which will influence the final impact on your body. Yeah, and I think that in some population information and in media you can hear about number of steps and if cycling is better than walking, but the intensity of these activities is very very crucial, and it was my intention to try to recommend the optimal intensity for users. And again, when we have to combine it with simplicity, it's not easy. We are still fighting with that. For somebody, it's
Right.
not so obvious what we recommend, but I would emphasize intensity because it's very important to be able to prescribe it. And if we help somebody to accept that intensity is important and we will give him the recommendation, it's a perfect, and I will be happy. And of course, when you have information as a feedback, what happens in your body through the HRV, you have a tool and you have information which you can use for this prescription. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it would be only, yeah, today's values are not good, stop to do everything, or values are good, do everything you have to plan, it wouldn't be so efficient, I would say.
So I know for many women, and Joy had touched on this earlier, many women, especially, well, all women, tend to overexercise, and
Yes.
they don't realize the effect that that has on their stress levels, on their hormone levels. So I think this is Elonga is a great tool to show them, well, pay attention to what your body is doing and what it is telling you. And maybe you'll reach the goals that you're seeking, whether it's to reduce stress, whether it might even be a healthier body, weight, all different things. To be able to listen to what Alanga is telling you and what you should be doing for your body, I think is so beneficial.
That's huge. It's amazing.
I am happy to hear it because I say it and I take it as some type of a feedback, something what is quite simply recognizable. Yeah, you use it for 3 minutes in the morning, and you have some real information what happens in your body, in your autonomic nervous system. You don't need to rely on it every day on a 100% and change our life based on this information. Nobody wants that, but you have some real information what happens, and you it's up to you to evaluate which inputs could influence it, what you did in your lifestyle, what did you change, what was good or but you have some numbers, some information you can compare, and yeah, compare it with your internal feeling, for example. But it's something real, it's something objective you can use, and it takes you only 3 minutes per day.
And one of the other things I noticed, one day it told me today would be a good day for a sauna. So it not only tells you what exercises you should be doing, but maybe other things that are for your own self-care, breathing, sauna, and
Yeah.
relaxation techniques.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the second part we had, I would say, in the autumn last year when we were sure, and it was our plan when we will be at least a little bit satisfied with our physical activity or exercise prescription. We want to add some other information regarding lifestyle, and it was a big issue which way we will approach that, because we didn't want to overwhelm people with some nutrition recommendations and calorie counting and so on. So we try to do it the simplest way the possible. And again, I tried different habit trackers, I would say 1 year ago, and try to test on myself what works, what not, how complicated it should be, how simple it should be to be able to use it every day. And today, part of a habit tracking, it's a results of that. And I have to say that it's very, very popular among the users. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
many users
Yeah.
which don't use a physical activity prescription, unfortunately, but they are very happy that they can manage their habits and they use it every day, and they have information how it can influence their results and their health generally.
So this leads me to my next question, and that is the habits portion of it, the habit tracker. Now, I personally have used a popular habit tracker that specifically focuses on diet and weight, and I'll just leave it at that. But I've used it and it works, but it's somewhat complicated. And it doesn't have the function of telling you what's going on in your body in real time. But I do think it's important because a lot of people now are starting to talk about longevity, and lifestyle factors into that. And when I set up my Elonga, it asked me some questions about my age and some of my habits and etc. And I enjoy a glass of wine some evenings. So in the measurements I've had so far, I've seen I had a couple glasses of wine, and the next morning the app was like, "Well, your regeneration is a little off." Okay, and that's fine. But can you talk a little bit about how you have observed these habits improving HRV or potentially longevity across populations?
Yeah, nice question. Uh, because before I started to make some experiments with habits on my side. I knew it from a theory, but yeah, in a practice, something was quite clear for me that it will work. Something was quite surprising for me. And I would say the strongest point we can see on our users is that there is big uh, inter-individual variability on influences on a different habits for a different people. Yeah, that for somebody the best he can do for the health and for the HRV results is to eliminate the alcohol intake, but for somebody the best think it's sleeping, and for somebody the best is some breathing exercises and so on. And not everything is working or influence HRV of other people by the same way. Yeah, and again you have this real feedback what works for you and maybe what doesn't work for you. And I have very nice but not positive for me example on myself. I like sport very much, but I also like the beer, especially from the craft beer from small breweries. And yeah, I take it as a hobby because I knew many things about it and so on. And even 5 years ago, it was not problem to have 2-3 beers in the evening and have at least average HRV values during the morning. Now, when I am a bit older, 5 years older, it's as a rule, when I have more than one beer in the evening, my morning values are completely destroyed without the exceptions. Yeah, it's like the highest rule and most often rule, and it's clear that my body accepted 5 years ago, 10 years ago when I was a younger, but now with a growing age, it's uncompromising that it doesn't mean that I don't drink the beer, but I must be very careful. And it gives me quite clear information how it's an influence on my body. But to have also some positive example, thanks to that, I found how strong influence on me has some breathing exercises. It was something what I ignored in the past because I was fan of exercise or physical activity and sport and so on. And I would say, I wouldn't lose the time by some exercises when I am lying and changing my breathing techniques. And it was, for me, it was complete game changer also for long-term values. But because when I started to apply it, I changed completely my spectrum and something I didn't expect. So 2 examples only on myself, and we have thousands of values from our clients when we see some charts, what helps them and what doesn't help. And there is not some one general rules. This habit is helped by everybody and this doesn't help nobody. No. Each situation is a different. Every person is a different.
Yeah, we're all bio individuals. So I wasn't even thinking about this, and it actually was like an aha moment that our bodies are constantly changing, and as we age, different things will affect different ways our bodies handle stress and everything. So it does make sense how the Elonga day to day can show you exactly how your body's changing. Like you said, if you have alcohol, possibly, or caffeine. I know that's, for me, I drink caffeine in the morning, and I have a feeling that may be affecting some of the levels, so I may be adjusting that. But it is amazing to know that the Elonga kind of grows with you. So every day it will just show you how your body is changing with the things that you do and what you eat, drink, move, stress levels, everything.
It's amazing that it will identify what's affecting one person differently than what's affecting another person differently.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty impressive too. That's an incredible aspect of the device.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just one thing we have to be aware that we have a tendency or maybe feeling that we are able to explain everything what happens in our body. Also, when we are healthy, we don't have any health issues and problems. So we have some general feeling that it must work like how some tools or something what is not life, yeah, that if I will have a training then the results will be lower after the regeneration, it will go higher because I should be recovered and so on. But on these results, when you are able to see them with some respect these results, you can see that you don't understand everything what happens in your body. There is many different inputs which your body reacting on, and you are not able to recognize them. And when I am using Elonga and the a long time, I know that there are some periods of a time, maybe weeks, maybe longer periods, when the values are much worse than average, and I don't know. I don't recognize nothing. I feel very well. I don't have any health issues and so on. But with my experience, I only say, yeah, something happens. I don't know what. I will try to respect the results a little bit, but not change all my life only because it's values. But I know that such periods could come, and sometimes you only have to wait, then it improves and so on. And for me, it's a proof that there are many things we are not able to recognize which are promoted somehow in our body, in our health. Maybe it's some mental state, maybe it's some weather situations and so on. And
Toxins.
I think that
Toxins.
we
Yeah.
sometimes try to explain everything and have a proof for everything, and we are not able to explain something. We have a tendency, it doesn't work, it doesn't have sense to monitor it because now happens something what I don't know, and it's useful. It's not. It's a good to see what's happened in your body, even if you don't know what is the reason.
Yeah, but this also, I've seen some reviews online where people are talking about things that the Elonga has helped them with. Say, for example, maybe the measurements are off and what's happening is you're getting sick. And that's
Mm-hmm.
coming. That's something that is building momentum in your system, even though you feel fine right in that moment. I agree with you. You've got to take things with a grain of salt and pay attention to trends. So
Yeah.
if you're trending in a particular direction and you have a couple of off days, then is that something to just wait out, or is it something maybe you feel the next couple of days an illness building or something of that nature and you have it addressed by your doctor or whatever? But that's also a valuable thing because it reminds you this is an opportunity for you to be patient. And as long as you're trending in the right direction or you're stabilized, then that's valuable information to know as well.
Yeah. Of course, we know that it works as some warning system when some health issues could come, but on the other side, we are aware of a situation when it's very short edge between this wellness and physical or lifestyle recommendations tool and these medical tools which could really uh, diagnose your health state and so on. And also from this point of view of regulation reasons, we are very careful in this interpretation. So we know that it works quite well. And from the personal perspective, I could recommend it that if you have lower values and you don't recognize something happens, to try to slow it down and have a more recovery, and because something could happen in your body, you are in some first phase of a illness, for example, and so on. Yeah, but we try to be careful in this interpretation because it's very tricky today regarding the legal issues and so on, and we have already some experiences when it was not so positive, and we have
Yeah.
some issues from that.
Yeah, us lawyers can throw a wrench in things, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I get it. The other thing, I just wonder, just out of curiosity, to what extent have you maybe not necessarily studied, but observed women who are over 45 using the device? Do you have any anecdotal evidence about that we can share?
Sorry, could you repeat it, or what was?
So I'm
Well,
wondering if you have any anecdotal evidence or just observational evidence that you can share where women who are over 45 and in their menopausal years have been using the device successfully.
uh, I have very good example, and I'm proud of that at home because my wife is somebody who don't like the technologies. She isn't use anything else, and but she's a physiotherapist, so she knows a lot of things about the body, but she's not anyhow fan of that things. And I try to motivate her to use my sassy already from the beginning, and she refused it every 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 time. But now she's everyday user of Elonga because she found that it gives her some information which could be important for her. And yeah, despite of her approach to the technologies, I am very proud of that, and it's big personal win for me because it's proof for me and for Elonga that it's really for a normal population and it could be useful also for a normal population. But it's only for a fun, some personal perspective. But from the our statistic, we know that the women older than 45 or this age are quite regular users of Elonga, and we are very happy because of that, because this first users and early adopters were mainly men and with some exercise history, but the reason probably was that we were known in Czech Republic from this My
Yeah.
Sassy tool and app, and it was quite logical that people who had close to the athletes and sports started to use it, and we are shifting that more to the women because we believe that it's quite good tool for them, and we shift also the average age of our users towards the older ages. And again, I think my personal intention was to develop something for myself and for people which could have similar problems as I have or could have a similar problems. So the older people or our users are, and the more women are there, the happier I am.
Did you hear that, Lorraine? He called us
Yes.
normal.
Normal users.
Well, I am so happy to hear that because anything we can do to help women in our audience and in our demographic, that's what we're trying to do here. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Elonga can't help but help women because just to know, especially hormonal changes can affect all of those things in our body. So, yeah, for women over 45, even younger, I mean, perimenopause can start in our late 30s. So I think basically everyone can use this. It can help guide a woman through those years to know exactly what's happening in her body because sometimes they don't get the help that they need at the doctor's office. And just knowing what's going on with stress levels and how they can help with exercise and stress relief. And knowing, I love how Elonga will tell you, okay, jump in the sauna or, do some breathing exercises because those can definitely help women of all ages.
Now, if I could tell you
Yeah.
to go drink a beer, that would be great.
And I don't know uh, exactly in which stage our development now is, but we developed last half a year the new functions using the AI interpretation and AI coach, and we put it out in some benches. Yes, every week I think that other 100 users were enabled to use it. So I am not sure if you had the opportunity to use it, but it's also, I would say, big game changer. Yeah, AI is today's a buzzword, but it's also a very useful thing. And I think that we have a amount and a structure of a data when the AI interpretation is very, very valuable because it's now possible to evaluate long time rows of a data because
Yeah.
through our today's algorithm, we are able to look back on a 1 week, not longer, and we are able to recognize some basic habits from the last week and some last physical activities but there could be some regularities based on much longer time period. And
Mhm.
now we see when we are using the AI models that there are very valuable information in this amount of the data during the time, and interpretation is much more clear and friendlier to the users, and we have very, very good results from a first test and from the users. So I think that especially for Elonga and tools like Elonga, it could be very, very powerful because it could uh, describe by the better way something which stayed invisible till now or not so clear for a user until now. So my first feelings and first feelings of the first users are very, very good. So I believe that it will make the Elonga again better and better.
So
I
it's
think so too.
constantly evolving
Yeah.
along. It's constant, that which is great. So you'll have the app, and any updates will be in the app that can help us. And in case we didn't state it before, it actually just became available in the US just this past April, I think, right? You did the launch in April, so it's new to the US, but it's been used in Europe for a while. And
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah. When we are still developing that, it's a good, but it's again the challenge to leave it as simple as possible, and on the other hand, to try to develop still new and new functions. So it's quite a regular fight among the opinions of different leaders in a company, and to decide what we will incorporate and what will be efficient and what will be some more exhausted for a user and so on. So yeah, it's a fight with the opportunities we have today to decide what is efficient and what is not.
It's exciting.
Makes sense. Yes, it's
Yeah.
very exciting. Yes, I'm excited to see how it evolves and to keep using it. Yes, and we will, of
Yeah.
course, support you as much as we can, and we will include links to the device and everything in the show notes in the episode
Mhm.
description. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
I believe that it could start to be as popular as in Europe. So why not
I
Yeah.
in the
agree.
US?
Yeah, we agree. So as we're finishing up today, we have some what we call rapid fire questions for you. So we will just give you a question. You just do like a quick answer. Okay, so What's one daily habit that improves HRV the most?
For me, breathing exercises. And I am sure that it's not for everybody, but for me, it was the most important thing.
Okay. It couldn't hurt, right? Okay. Can HRV predict illness before symptoms appear?
In some symptoms, yes, but it's fair to say that for some symptoms, not. It's not some general diagnostics tool.
Okay. What's the biggest misconception people have about wearable health technology?
That it's some rule what they obtain as information. Yeah, that there are people who are not using anything, but then start to use something and they think that it's 100% rule that cannot do anything else and it's recommended and so on. In Czech, we have word selský rozum. You have to use your brain not only to blindly believe of these technologies.
That's great.
I love that.
Yeah.
Use your brain. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What surprises users most after using Elonga?
Yeah, I must say, because it's a true, how complex and accurate information it provides, despite of differences with personal feelings and opinions of somebody's.
And the last question, if you could recommend one health practice for women over 50, what would it be?
Of course, physical activity, but more specifically, the strength exercises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We agree. We agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Wonderful.
Okay. Now, Radim, was there anything else that you wanted to share that maybe we haven't covered?
I think that we went through almost everything. I don't have anything to add after this hour.
I think it's beer 30 for Dr. Šlachta. Well, if you can tell us where we can send our audience to find Elonga and to find you, do you have a website?
I think that the web page is the www.elonga.com. Is it in English, right? So I think that the most comprehensive information will be there and also on our social media. So it should be possible to make everything through that.
On Instagram, there are two Elonga, right? One is for the US. So if you search Elonga, I think it's .us for the people in the US. You'll find them there. And of course, we're going to put all these links in the show notes, so everybody should be able to find you very easily. And this will be also on YouTube. So it will be the podcast wherever you find your podcasts, and then we will have the full episode on YouTube
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I know it's late in the Czech Republic, and we're going to let you go and have your beer and and enjoy your evening. And please keep in touch, and we'll let you know. We'll give you feedback and let you know how we're doing with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And we maybe next year you can come back on and give us some updates.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate very much your invitation, and I hope my information will be a bit useful for your listeners and you enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
I am sure. It's very interesting. And I can't imagine that the women out there won't be running to get one of these, because you need to know what is happening in your body.
Oh my God. When you understand what it does, it's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And it's super important to be able to share this information. What is it about? So I'm happy I was able to provide.
Yeah. Thank you again so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Girlish Gurus. We hope you'll join us next time for more fun and inspiration. Be sure to check the description of this episode for links and information about the topic, and you can find us on our social media platforms, starting with Instagram, Facebook, and now including YouTube. You can find us by searching Girlish Gurus, and you can also check out our website, girlishgurus.com, for more information on us, our projects, books, and our growing community.
And don't forget to download this episode, give it a good review, and share it with your girlfriends. We would also love to hear from you in the comments, because the more interaction we get, the more episodes we can post. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.